Breaking news coming into the SNY newsroom. I'm Michelle Yu. New York Knicks forward Cleanthony Early was shot in his right leg after leaving a Maspeth Queens strip club early this morning. Early was in an Uber car when 4 to 6 men surrounded his vehicle. Then they robbed him and shot him. He's reportedly in stable condition at Elmhurst Hospital. For more on this now, let's welcome in our NBA Insider and Daily News' basketball columnist Frank Isola. Frank, what is the latest on this news?
Well, the good thing is the injury is not life-threatening to Cleanthony Early, and I believe now he is either in transport or has arrived at a at a hospital somewhere in New York City. He'll be looked at by team doctors as well. So even though the injury to his right knee, that's where I believe he was shot, is not life-threatening, who knows how this will impact his season or his career. So it's a very scary situation that Cleanthony Early was involved in. Number one, he's lucky, to be alive, and now I'm sure he's concerned about his career, and he obviously has to be pretty shaken up because the reports are, according to police sources, he was with his girlfriend when this happened. He was, for it to be 4 to 6 people surround him, obviously it sounds like someone was aware that a player with money, because Cleanthony Early was robbed of his jewelry, his wallet, his iPhone, as well. It's a very scary situation. Obviously, police are going to investigate. Hopefully, they apprehend the people that are responsible for this.
Early played the final 28 seconds last night in the Knicks' win over the Pistons. How could there have been any type of team violation here?
No, I mean, I think, the Knicks organization would hope that their players would be responsible and get to bed at an appropriate time. I think the important thing was for him, he was getting into an Uber cab, which is good. Who knows? Maybe he went out after the game and had one drink, and he's doing the smart thing by getting into an Uber cab. The Knicks don't, professional teams don't have a curfew. The Knicks are scheduled today to have practice at noon. So if he was leaving this club between 3 and 4 a.m., it's not like he's getting a lot of sleep, but the Knicks don't play tonight. I think, at worst, he's guilty of poor judgment. Why are you going there with your girlfriend at that time of night? But let's remember, he is a victim here. And what's interesting about it, in the span of 10 days, 2 Knicks players, Derek Williams and Cleanthony Early, have been robbed. One was with 2 women in his apartment, and they reportedly stole about $700,000 worth of jewelry on him. And Cleanthony Early here, a much, scarier situation, because you're talking about masked gunmen, carrying semi-automatic weapons and, pointing a gun at him and then eventually shooting Cleanthony Early. So it's been a pretty crazy, 2 weeks for the New York Knicks.
With that being said, how do you think the Knicks handle this type of situation?
Well, I think right now they're trying to gather as much information as they can. The Knicks do hire security personnel, and, usually they are former police officers. I know one of them was a former New York City police officer, and the NBA is obviously involved with their security people. So, as the New York City Police Department investigates it, the Knicks will try to collect as much information as they can as well. I think the Knicks, and if you look at some of the tweets that were sent out by some of Cleanthony Early's teammates, including Kristaps Porzingis and Jose Calderon, he's a very likable player. The guys on the team like him. They like the fact that he keeps working hard, even though really he hasn't been able to crack the rotation. Remember, he spent a couple of games in the D-League this season. So I just think it's a situation which is unfortunate. It's it's another example of guns in society. What I find coincidence is here we were on Christmas Day with the NBA airing that public service announcement featuring, among others, Carmelo Anthony. And in that public service announcement, they're just trying to draw awareness to gun violence in this country. And here we are just a few days later, and an NBA player and a New York Knicks is a victim of gun violence.
Frank, you mentioned earlier that practice is around noon in Westchester later. What do we expect to hear from Derek Fisher?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because Phil Jackson was not at the game last night, so I'm assuming that Phil, because it's around the Christmas holidays and the Knicks will be going on the road to play at least 4 of their next 5 games, maybe Phil is going to stay out in the California area, the LA area, until, for maybe another week or so. To be honest with you, I think for the Knicks in a situation like this, you need either Phil Jackson or Steve Mills to make a statement. I don't really think it's fair to kind of put Derek Fisher in that situation. This is more of an organizational thing now, and really in these situations, you would hope that someone, if Phil Jackson is there, I think he should address it. If not, Steve Mills, I believe, is in town. then he should address it really before the coach does. And I'm sure the Knicks will try to keep their players, away from the media a little bit because they don't want the players saying anything wrong without maybe knowing all the facts just yet.
Frank Isola, our New York Daily News' NBA columnist, thank you so much for joining us. We'll speak to you later today.
Thanks, Michelle.
And we'll have much more on this story after the Knicks speak at their regularly scheduled practice. That is this afternoon. For the latest, though, log on to SNY.TV.